K-pop has established its popularity in the international music scene. As its influence grows, so does the number of candidates for K-pop stars who will be at the forefront of the K-pop wave. A pool of star wannabes who excel in singing, dancing, and appearance are being trained by major entertainment agencies. While some are proud that K-pop has boosted Korea's standing on the international stage, others are unhappy that Korea's music scene is too lopsided towards young idols. They think too much focus on K-pop hurts diversity and creativity of Korea's pop music. Even minor in numbers, there are fans for folk music, jazz, adult contemporaries, or heavy metal music. That's why some music fans turn their eyes to the indie music scene for diversity. Starting to grow in the late 90s around Seoul's Hongik University area, a group of mostly young musicians choose to go their own way, releasing albums and having concerts without depending on mainstream commercial agencies. But most indie musicians say it's difficult to stick to their guns and play the music they prefer. First and foremost, they cannot support themselves financially just by being an indie musician. Most of these musicians must have other full-time or part-time jobs. Some say that we need a government policy to support them, but others say we don't have to use taxpayer money for musicians who are mostly unknown to the public. Do indie musicians contribute to the diversity of Korea's pop music, or are they just creating music for their own fun, detached from Korean public's musical taste? What can be told for sure is the indie music scene will continue to exist, especially thanks to the technological advancement that makes releasing singles much affordable than before, or possibly due to the backlash against the uniformity of K-pop. People's musical tastes have evolved, and now there is more selection on what to listen to. Koreans are not stuck with limited options as in the past. So I said people's musical tastes have evolved. Having musical taste is your selection in something that you like or something that you might be good at. For example, if you are very fashionable, you have very good taste in clothes. Or if you like very expensive food, you might have great taste in food. But musical taste has evolved means the way and what Koreans listen to has changed, and so is what they liked. And then I said, Koreans are not stuck with limited options as they are in the past. So stuck with is if you have something and you really can't get rid of it. It's like something you have to do. So you might be stuck in a job that you don't want to do, but you have to do it to support your family. So in the past, you were kind of stuck with whatever was on TV or on the radio. But now with the internet, we can choose any type of musical genre we want to listen to. The gatekeepers of the Korean music industry are having difficulties controlling the market as more people have more access to different types of music. So I said in the beginning, the gatekeepers of the Korean music industry. So this word gatekeeper now, it's used as someone who guards against something and prevents entry. So if you had an idea for a TV show, in the past, you'd have to go to one of the top networks, and they were the gatekeepers. If they said no, you weren't getting your TV show on. But now there's 400 channels on TV, so there's a lot less gatekeepers. Or if you're a singer and you want to sing something, you could just put it on YouTube. There is no gatekeeper. So the gatekeepers in the music industry are like SM Entertainment, YG Entertainment, or FNC. They've kind of held the gate to prevent other musical genres from entering. But now with the internet, we can look at everything, so there are no more gatekeepers. These days, anyone can create music with technology we all have access to. Anyone can create and perform the music they love. Metalheads, indie fans, and hip-hop lovers have turned their passion into reality. There are no barriers for entry now, since you can use the technology on your phone to make music. So I said like metalheads, indie fans, hip-hoppers or hip-hop lovers. So like if someone really likes metalhead, or metal, we call them metal heads. And then like indie fans, or we might use the word indie rockers. So depending on the different genre of music, we usually attach another word for it. So like classical music lovers, we call them, but we all call them a different name. And then finally, I said there are no barriers for entry now. So similar to Gatekeeper, a barrier for entry means a barrier is kind of like an obstacle. It's blocking you. But since we have YouTube, SoundCloud, and GarageBand on our phones, we can all make music and videos and post them to the internet. So that means there's no barrier. We can all put our content out there. And also another barrier for entry is another word we use for is like green lighting. So when we talked about gatekeepers, big networks, big entertainment companies, they can green light an idea, green light a TV show, a song, an album, etc. So to be greenlit usually means in the artistic world that your project was approved. So now no one has to green light your ideas. You could just put it online yourself. Funding for the arts is needed to create a wider spectrum of music in Korea. Without this money, big business will continue to control what music Koreans listen to. So I said funding for the arts is needed to create a wider spectrum. So when we talk about a spectrum, if you think of a line drawn on a piece of paper, that's kind of one dimensional. But if you add an XY axis, now we're talking about 2 dimensions. So for example, if you look at K-pop, it might be on the right of the line, but if you add K-pop and rap, that kind of increases the spectrum, or K-pop and electronic music, that changes the variety. So what this is saying is that funding for the arts is needed to create a wider spectrum. Just means a lot more variety and different styles. And then without this money, big business will continue to control what music Koreans listen to. So big business, as we talked about before, are the gatekeepers. They are the large entertainment industries and the large entertainment companies. So they have a lot of money, and they can use that money and influence to control what goes on TV or the radio or streaming. In America, we had a problem in the 1950s. We call it payola. Payola was when the big record companies were paying to get their music on the radio. So any sort of corruption now in the music industry, we go, oh, that's payola. The government needs to step in to promote alternate forms of art and music. Grants and public places should be offered to independent bands to expand the Korean music scene. So I said the government needs to step in and promote. So usually when the government steps in, they see a problem and they enter the conflict. Or if you see an argument and then you step in, that means you're going to go in and try to solve it. And I said grants and public places. So as a grant is money that you apply for, usually with the government or university or a scientific research institute. So if you say, hey, look, I need money, we're creating an indie band and we're going to play, but we need money for space. A grant would be a small amount of money or a big amount of money the government could give that band, but you would have to apply for it and go through a certain approval process. Government funds should not be diverted for a minority of music fans. Indie bands play for passion and know they will not make a lot of money. So I said government funds should not be diverted. Diverted means to change direction or change course. For example, if you are flying on a long trip and there's a storm, your flight might divert to another city because it's unsafe to land. Or if the plane has a problem, it'll be diverted somewhere else. It was supposed to go to point B, but went to point C instead. Also, we use it for money. So if money's going for one cause and then the government takes it and puts it to another. So if the government is funding agriculture, but then starts to fund clean energy like solar or wind, that money was diverted. So it was supposed to go to one place, but went to another. Government support for the arts should be limited to projects that can bring more money and attention to Korea. All right, thanks, guys. And you can follow us on Instagram, MATTSSAM. Also, email me directly at feurey@gmail.com for all your English education needs. And I hope you guys listen again. And thanks for downloading. Bye-bye.